Hi friends, how are you? Today, a podcast about something that a lead designer or a professional designer, young designer, should never do in a design studio. This podcast is about what you should never do when you are involved in a design project, something that can really hurt your career or the future of your career. Picture this. You're a lead designer, you have experience, years of experience, and you are lead design on a very important project. You are leading the design. Being a lead designer, for sure, you have your own ideas. You think that the project should be made in this way. Certain details should go the other way because you have your own design philosophy. And sometimes your own design philosophy is not really matching what the young designers you are supervising are doing according to what your design manager or design creative studio manager is looking for that specific project in agreement with the design director. This is a scenario that can happen. It's human. Everybody that have their own ideas, even if everybody are very good professionals. But at the same time, when we work on specific, important, key projects that, if well done, can really become something extremely successful, mainly for the company you're working for, then we have to be a little bit, more than a little bit, we should be really careful about how the project is guided and how the project should be executed. And this is very simple. This is the best way to make sure that there is one voice design in agreement with the product planning also, so that every step this project will be presented to the top management, things will go really nice and smooth and everybody will be happy. So which is the big problem that could be created if you as a lead designer start proposing things that are not really aligned with what is that project vision? For example, your design creative manager is asking you not to do certain things in a certain way, but really follow the given indications in some of the presentation's instances. So if you don't really follow that, making the best of your, how can I say, from your professional point of view about those given indications, if you do something that looks or it's perceived like contrary, opposite, or what it has been asked, well, in that case, even if people don't speak right away, in that case, you are creating a sort of conflict. I mean, the base of a conflict is starting. You don't perceive that way because you are thinking that you are doing your honest job, you are giving your honest feedback, you are motivated by your honest, best intentions, and because you don't have probably the feeling of working in a whole team with a central direction and what the design manager is asking, you don't realize that you are not converging, but with your position, you are starting to diverging from the main design philosophy, the main direction for that specific project, which is, I would like to remember, it's a specific, sensible project. So you keep on working like that, you propose things, and some of those things are constantly rejected by your top management. And you insist. You still go back and then you rework yours and you repropose those ones. And once again, they are rejected. So instead of asking yourself why those proposals are rejected, the reasons behind the rejections, you get into a mood that in reality is a very negative mood and say, hi, they have something against me. And therefore, they don't understand, they don't want to open up their eyes and see that I have the right answer compared to the others. And they should take consideration of those sketches I'm making, of those proposals. But they don't. So they are against me. You get involved into this negative scenario that 100% will put you in conflict to your direct studio manager and also the design brand director. This is the worst scenario that could happen to a designer, but especially to a lead designer. Because from a lead designer, we expect experience, leading, which means with the experience, professionalism of this lead designer, we know that the young designers can perform. You go there just to wake them up if they make big mistakes or if they are ready to make a mistake, make them reason, explain why they should be more careful because of your experience. Instead, if you put yourself in competition with those designers, telling the top management, hey, look at my stuff because I really have the right answer, and they still reject it, then something happens between you and the top management, not the young designers. Everybody is in competition. Everybody, it's there working, and everybody is trying to give the best, but everybody is trying also to listen the indications, to understand the reasons behind the specific request in terms of creative management. And the lead designer that should go for these indications should not go against pretending that he or she has the right answer. In a way, it's like you're saying to your studio manager, hey, look, you don't understand. Or worse, you are saying the same thing to your design director. Now, the design director will never tell you you are wrong. They will never tell you. They will never tell you this during a presentation. They will just talk to your manager, to the studio manager. And the design director will start saying, hey, look, I have seen that the behavior of this guy is starting, in my opinion, is starting to become a little bit annoying. Also because we have, we agree on a certain way of moving on with this project. And it looks like this guy is like, it was too differently. And I don't want the young designers to be influenced by him. He's supposed there to help them to perform the best, especially on those ideas that are probably complicated to realize. But when you have somebody that is experienced, you can take those ideas, you can modify them a little bit and make sure that those ideas can be realized. So that's the difference between a young designer that does not have the experience and the lead designer that does have that experience. Now, let's come back to this behavior. Now, we said that the management is looking to that with apprehension. They are worried. They see coming some negative things for the project. So they start telling him, or the studio manager is trying his best to explain, don't worry, just follow what we are saying. We want from you the best thing you can give in the team to make sure that we can take those ideas that have been chosen and evolve them so that we can put them into production. And don't worry about the rest. On the other side, what's happening in the design lead head? He starts thinking, because of his character, because the way he is, he's overreacting negative to the point where he finds himself between negative answers from his studio manager, which of course is always very stressy, and a negative feeling coming from the technical department, the engineering department. They start calling him to see how they can make things work because of course they are complicated. And in between those two fires, what does he do? He cracks. It does the worst thing that he can do. Quit the project. I would like to explain to you why it's always a bad thing to quit a project, especially if the project is an important project. Now, I know, maybe you are saying, yeah, okay, come on, but you are all humans and we have to understand that this guy is going through hell and maybe his studio manager did not understand that. I agree. Potentially you're right if you think that. But the thing is that when you are in a competitive team, in a competitive field like car design, especially on a very competitive and sensible project, there are 1,000 people behind your shoulders that would like to take your job because those are the projects that give you, popularity, prizes, augmentation of your salary, a better career position. When we are at this type of level within the designer career path, you gotta be much more careful about how you behave, how you react, or how you overreact to situations where you should learn that to stay calm is the best thing. Then there is another question that I would like also to bring to the table. How important is for a design lead to prove that his own design philosophy is the right thing to follow? On the other hand, how important is for a design lead to make abstraction of his personal view in some part of the project and let just things go, because the objective is that the project goes between two rails very nicely. Therefore, the design lead should be more concentrated in helping the team, in helping the project to move to the next step without creating problems, but solving problems. Now, I know this is the role that I have, the design project manager. But the design lead is between the project manager and young designers. The most important thing is to understand when things go and run smoothly, because we are able all together to find solutions that can make everybody's happy. So it's a win-win type of solutions, and therefore the problem solving is approached correctly in a very constructive way. On the other hand, if you make the choice as a design lead, quit the project because they didn't want to listen to you, and you are fed up with all those tensions and stuff, basically you are putting one foot outside the company, because that's what is the risk. You probably tell me, oh, come on, Luciano, don't exaggerate. No, I'm not exaggerating, because in general, what happens? So this is an example to tell you that you should never quit your project. The greatest advice I can give you, don't ever quit a project. When you feel like you are in this scenario, then you have to do something in your attitude to make sure that the pressure comes down, that you say, okay, they want that. Even if I don't agree 100%, I'll give them that. Because don't forget, they are responsible for this. As a design lead, you have an important role, but it's not the most important role in the team. And it's not requested to you to be fully responsible for how the design is going to come out, because you forget that you have a design creative director, you have design studio manager, then you have a design project manager, of course, that has something to say. And the fact of quitting shows to your studio manager, so to your direct manager, that probably you are not the right person in that role. So what does it mean? Now, how we understand that this is really happening, Well, we understand that this is happening when, for example, the guy or the girl, after a few months, they don't get more a design lead project position. You still have projects, but they will ask you just to give, some creative, but they don't ask you to take the lead of the project. So that's already a first alarm, red alarm, and say, hey, something is wrong here. They are changing attitude toward me. And when you see that, the best advice I can give you, even if the situation is already a little bit compromised, is that you go and talk to your studio manager, only your studio manager, and you ask for an honest meeting so that you guys can talk. But the most important thing is that professionally you can make sure that your studio manager can still have a professional trust in you as a lead designer. Now, if you decide not to do that, and you see that lots of opportunities pass by and they never land on your desk, and then you are just doing repeatedly simple stuff that any designer can do, and you decide not to go because you are waiting for your studio manager that is responsible for you to come and talk to you and explain to you or give you a project, well, probably you are in the wrong scenario. You are just poor on the side, and they just concentrate on people that are much easier to talk to, much easier to work with. Calm down, try your best to get the stress level really low, put yourself at the service of the young designers and to the design project manager that needs you to advance on his strategy within the rest of the company that has to make the car, and make sure that your relationship with your studio manager is always a very nice one. If you like the podcast, leave a comment, like, subscribe, whether you are on YouTube or in my new channel on Spotify. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Ciao.